In this video, we're going to have a look at flat catching. Flat catching generally happens when you're in the ring, and it's one of the ways that as a fielder, we can get a wicket for our bowler. With flat catching, we need to be in a good ready position. So if you haven't watched video 1 on the ready position, make sure you go back and do that now before watching this video. With flat catching, we need to present as big a catching area as we can so that the ball's got its best chance to go in our hands. So elbows in and thumbs out, presenting a big catching area so the ball can hit and then we can close. And when the ball's coming low, we want our fingers pointing down. If the ball's higher, we might want our fingers pointing up to the sky. Again, big catching area as possible, out in front. That leads me on to the next point, is we want to be out in front here when we catch the ball. We don't want to be too close to our belly button. If we're in here, we can't watch the ball over this last metre. So we want our hands out so we can catch the ball and see the ball go into our hands as much as possible. And then the last thing, and probably the most important thing, we really want to work our head. So if the ball's coming down my left side, I don't want to leave my head behind and just go with my hands. I want to shift my weight in, get my head behind the ball so I've got as much information as possible, presenting that big catching area just like this. Common mistakes we tend to see with flat catching. First one, and probably the biggest one, is that people have their fingers pointing at the ball. So we need to get our fingers pointing down to the floor or either up to the sky. As the guys get older and girls get older who are playing, the ball could hit on the end, and that's when you could start getting broken fingers. Second one is that people catch it too close to their body. We want to catch it out in front where you can see the ball all the way into our hands. Third one, people have their hands apart. That's fine for catching a football, but for a cricket ball, we need those elbows tucked in and those thumbs out. And lastly, really important, is that people leave their head behind. So when the ball's outside their body width, move your head so that you can get as much information as possible. And then when the harder ones come, they're a little bit wider, our head's in a great position, and then we can go with our hands as a last resort. A really good drill to practice your flat catching. We're going to put our football goal out again, so 2 cones, and we're going to put our red cone in the middle, again about 1 metre, 2 metres behind, so we can walk in and practice that ready position. And all we're going to do is we're going to get a partner who's about 10 yards away. I'm going to use someone who's going to hit with a cricket bat, but you can use tennis balls in a tennis racket. You can get someone to underarm the ball to you. It doesn't matter, whatever suits your level. And from there, we're just going to catch a load of catches, walking in, setting ourselves. And can you move and get your head behind the ball and then just reset and just repeat this process over and over again, just checking where your set position is, whether you're moving your head or your hands, whether your fingers are pointing at the ball or up to the sky, and just repeat and make sure that you're comfortable in everything that you're doing and when you're setting.